our meeting has opened back up. We have our CHIP. This is our second public hearing on our CHIP program, and this is Dale Hartle. I'm sorry, I should have known your name.
That's all right.
I was like
Not a
stuttering there for a
problem,
moment.
not a problem.
So, Jen, if you
Okay, so our first item of business would be to reconvene, so it's 10:30 a.m. So in the matter of reconvening the meeting, can I get a motion to reconvene?
I'll make a motion to reconvene.
I will second that motion.
Ms. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
We can begin with the public hearing. So the public hearing for the second CHIP public hearing is now open, and we can resume.
And for the public, I might add that Commissioner Powell is joining us per phone here. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Is it all right with my mask off?
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Dale Hartle. I'm the president of Ohio Regional Development Corporation. And we are here to conduct a second public hearing for the Scioto County City of Portsmouth fiscal year 2021 CHIP program. The objective of the Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program, known as CHIP, is to preserve and improve the affordable housing stock for low to moderate income individuals and to strengthen neighborhoods through community collaboration. The county and the city of Portsmouth is eligible to apply for $750,000 in a combined application. If they were to apply separately, they would be eligible for $50,000 less for each entity, which would be a grand total of $100,000 less. But since they're willing to apply together, the amount applied for is $750,000. The permitted activities are owner rehabilitation, which the funding source is Community Development Block Grant and Home Dollars. The maximum per unit of assistance that can be done for those who are eligible is $64,000. Homeowners have to be at 80% of low to moderate income or less, and the entire unit must comply with the residential rehab standards. There's a 5-year declining loan, and it declines 20% per year payable upon the sale, and upon the sale or when they no longer occupy the unit as a primary residence within 5 years. There's a payback also at 15% of it at the end of whenever they cease to live there. Rental rehabilitation is available also, and that is a maximum of $64,000 per unit. The maximum cost would be that, and that's based upon the person living in the home has to be 80% of LMI, or low to moderate income or less. The unit must comply with the residential rehab standards, and for rental rehab, the landlord must pay half of the cost. It also have a declining balance of payment over 5 years, or a mortgage over 5 years. Homeowner Repair is the funding source is Community Development Block Grant and Ohio Housing Trust Fund, and the maximum cost per unit can be $18,000, and the homeowners again have to be at 80% of LMI or less. Rental repair is the same thing of $18,000 per unit maximum, and the landlord has to pay half of that. On homeowner repair or rental repair, there is not a mortgage placed on the unit for that. The owner on rental repair must pay 50% of it, and it declines over, the declining loan is over 2 years. There's down payment assistance available, and that's to purchase a home and rehab that home if to bring it up to standards if need be. There's Habitat money available for Habitat for Humanity at a cost of $30,000 maximum per unit. And there's tenant-based rental assistance, which is funding sources are from home dollars, and it's based upon the person's income. The participants have to be at 60% low to moderate income or less. The proposed budget, and that's why we're here today, is to talk about the proposed budget for this upcoming grant, is that 7 units be projected to be done through owner rehabilitation. Grand total of $435,000 for owner rehabilitation, and 7 units are proposed to be done with benefiting 18 people. The home repair program is projected at $225,000. The funding source for that is CDBG, or Community Development Block Grant, and the Ohio Housing Trust Fund money. It's projected that 13 units will be done for home repair, and that would benefit 33 people. Fair housing and administration at $90,000 for, and the funding source is home and CDBG, and so forth. It is projected that this application, not projected, but has to go into the state by June the 23rd of 2021, and it's anticipated somewhere around December the 1st of 2021, the applications will be determined by the state who gets funded and so forth. Are there any questions from the audience or from the Commissioner's office?
On the home repair, the $225,000, you said there were 13 units benefiting how many people? I didn't catch that. The second.
Benefiting 33 people.
33. Thank you. Any questions?
There are no questions on the live stream.
Thank you.
That concludes the public hearing. When the hearing is considered concluded, I want to talk to you about fair housing also.
Sorry, one just popped in. Sue McGraw Montgomery is asking, is that individual homeowners?
For which program? Well, let me go over who has to be homeowners, okay? For the owner rehabilitation program, they are homeowners. And that's the program that we can spend up to $65,000 on. For the owner repair program, that is also homeowners. We are not proposing any rental rehab in this particular program. So all of the units would be homeowners.
And that's all the questions.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, that concludes the second public hearing for the CHIP program. I'd like to talk to you also about fair housing a little bit, because fair housing is something that is mandated not only by the state of Ohio, but also by the federal government. And fair housing refers to the practices that comply with the Federal Fair Housing Act, originally passed in 1968, and similar state and local laws. The Federal Fair Housing Act, as amended, prohibits discrimination in housing and related transactions on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, religion, disability, and familial status. And so not all unfair practices by a landlord or someone else involved in housing transaction are related with consumers are covered by the Fair Housing Act. A landlord who fails to make repairs or honor his obligations under a lease, or a real estate agent who commits a violation of state rules of agent ethics may be acting unfairly, but he or she is not in violation of the Fair Housing Act unless their actions or lack thereof are discriminatory against one of the 7 protected classes. And so if a landlord fails to fix the leaking pipes in a renter's house, that is not a fair housing issue. And when we receive complaints, a lot of times they will be that, you know, he won't fix the pipes, the plumbing, the electric's bad or whatever. That's not a fair housing issue. That's a tenant landlord issue, and in that case, they need to contact their attorney and discuss that with them. The federal laws covering fair housing go way back, clear back to 1866. In 1866, the first Civil Rights Act was passed, and then in 1968, Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act was passed, and then it was amended again in 1988. Both of these acts prohibit discrimination in a wide variety of real estate practices, including housing sale and rental provisions of mortgage lending and homeowners insurance. In 1965, Ohio became one of the first states to enact fair housing legislation. In 1992, House Bill 321 revised Ohio's fair housing laws and made them substantially equivalent to the fair housing laws of the federal government. In March of 2008, Ohio added another group to the 7 currently receiving protected class status, and that is military status. So if a person is in the military or has been in the military, they cannot be denied services, rental housing, sale of housing, any services. They are protected just the same as the other 7 up above, and I think that's very good to have those. So the 7 federally protected classes, again, are race, religion, color, national origin, sex, familial status, and disability. Fair housing has to do with discrimination, or it protects against discrimination such as refusals to sell or to rent a person based on one of those 8 protected classes, discrimination in terms and conditions or privileges of the sale, in advertising and denying availability, blockbusting and steering. And blockbusting is simply where they're not willing to bust an area that is not covered by one of those protected classes. Failure to make reasonable accommodations, lending, discrimination, and redlining. A dwelling is defined as any building, structure, or portion thereof which is occupied or as designated or intended for occupancy. And so a residence by one or more families, and any vacant land which is offered for sale or lease for the construction or location thereon of any such building, structure, or portion thereof. Disabilities are described, and I talked about you can't discriminate because of a disability. And so if a person needs maybe a handicap ramp or to get into a dwelling, the landlord cannot deny them that. The person would probably have to pay for it themselves, but the landlord cannot deny reasonably requested areas such as that. In some cases, it might even involve enlarging a door to get into the dwelling with a wheelchair or whatever the case may be.
Are you saying the landlord does not have to pay for the rent?
That's right. But no, that's correct.
But they can't deny them
That's right.
the need for it.
That's right. Under the Fair Housing Act, a disability is defined as having a physical or mental impairment that limits major life activities, having a record of physical or mental impairment, being perceived as having a physical or mental impairment. It comes to my mind of several years ago, my office was a rehab on a lady's home, and the lady had not been out of her home for like 3 to 4 years because she was just not able to make it out of the house for a variety of reasons. And so as part of the rehab work we did, now this was part of a CHIP grant, so she did not have to pay for it, but as part of the rehab work that we did, we put a ramp up to her house. And for the first time in 3 or 4 years, she was able to get outside. It did us all a great deal of blessing to see her enjoy that again. She didn't live too many more years after that. Her health was poor, but at least she had some good years. We also made accommodations in one of her rooms. She had been using portable bathroom facilities for a long, long time. And we went in and opened a room up and made a larger door and made bathroom facilities that she could use a regular bathroom. And those are things that if you were to, now that happened to be her own home, but if you were to deny that person rental status because of not having those things, that would be illegal. So fair housing is the law of not only the state of Ohio, but also of the federal government. HUD, the state of Ohio and the Department of Development wants us to inform people that these are the laws, you know. And I've left some brochures here that tell about fair housing, and we're happy to answer any questions that there may be.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the time.